Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by XFC Flyweight champion Pearl Gonzalez. Pearl, how are you?
I'm doing great today, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing good. Pearl, you got a fight coming up this Friday at XFO 50, and since this is fight week, I'm just curious, what kind of last-minute preparations do you have to make? You know, what kind of things need to be done from now until the fight? What's your schedule from now until Friday night?
You know, I'm still following my same schedule. Obviously, we've toned down all my training for the fight this week, but, you know, there's really no last-minute preparation that needs to be done. I work hard every day, and I stay in shape, so it's just toning it down and, you know, watching my weight right now, making sure my water intake is on point, you know, getting ready for the cut, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. When exactly do you start to get into fight mode when you have a fight coming up? Is it a week out from the fight? Is it a couple days out from the fight? Is it at the weigh-ins after you weigh in? Is it the day of the fight? Is it when you arrive at the venue? Is it when you're walking out? You know, when exactly do you start to get your game face on?
You know, I travel to Chicago about 5-6 weeks out before a fight, and that's kind of when fight mode starts. I'm in camp. I've been in camp for the past 4 weeks. I'm staying with my coach and his family. I'm secluded from my family, my friends. You know, it's training, and that's all I do. I eat, train, sleep, and repeat it every single day. So my game face has been on. You know, I'm just, you know, I try not to get too emotional with it, and I'm just taking it day by day and, you know, preparing myself for the fight Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Now, in preparation for this fight, have you been training with both San Diego Combat Academy and Midwest Training Center?
Yes, San Diego is where I currently reside, so that is my home gym, and then I travel out to come work with Alex Trujillo with Midwest Training Center for 5 or 6 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm. And is that typical for you? Will you start in San Diego and end in Illinois, or is it just because this fight is in Illinois you decided to end it there?
I did the same thing with my last fight against Courtney Casey, and it worked out really well for me. I really, really do like being away from my home and my family and my friends and everyone, and just focusing 100% on my fight. It really helps me a lot, you know, just kind of get all the distractions out of the way and make it able for me just to focus on my skills and, you know, the fight. So I actually like this. This is probably going to be the way that my camps will continue to go. We might switch it up and have me start my camp here in Chicago at Midwest Training Center for 6 weeks and then finish out in San Diego. We're not sure yet. It's still new. This is new to me, working with Manny at San Diego Combat Academy and Alex at Midwest Training Center. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been training at both places? You know, individually, you know, when did you start with Midwest and when did you start with Team Hurricane Awesome?
I actually had come out to Midwest Training Center a couple years back. A few times I was able to work with Alex. You know, I lived in Chicago my whole life and trained at the same gym, Combat Dough, from 11 until 24. Or no, excuse me, not 24, 26. And then I moved to San Diego last May, and so I've been at San Diego Combat Academy since then. I've always kept in contact and been able to come out and work with Alex Trujillo at Midwest Training Center here and there. But now he is my head coach. This is my full-time camp now, and it's amazing. It's done wonders to my game, you know, and me as a professional fighter, completely taken me to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Now, why did you decide to start training in San Diego? Why did you decide to go out there? Was it for MMA? Was it for a job? Or was it, you know, some other reason why you decided to go out that way?
My husband is active duty in the Navy, and we've been stationed in San Diego for the next 5 years, so it worked out perfectly. I wanted to go out west and, you know, try the training out there, and so it's been absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, you're fighting at home for the first time in a very long time. It's been a while since you fought in the Chicago area. You have never fought there as a pro. You fought there in your amateur days, but since turning pro, you haven't been able to get a fight there. How excited are you to be back home fighting?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be home. You have no idea. I'm totally looking forward to this, fighting in front of my home crowd, showing them just all of the changes and progress that I've made since the last time that most of my people and fans have been able to see me fight. So I am so excited. This means the world to me to be able to do this, to have all my family be able to come out and watch me, and all my friends. It's so exciting for me. Mm-hmm.
Now, there's two different types of fighters when it comes to fighting in their hometown. There's the one type of fighter who gets very nervous that they some pressure gets put on them because they feel that they have to perform at their best in front of their crowd, their friends and family. And then there's the other fighter who gets amped up when their crowd is cheering for them. Which one are you?
I actually get pumped up. It actually depends on where I am mentally in the fight. If I'm focused 100% and I'm completely in the fight, then the crowd I really don't hear them. I'm just all about the fight in that current moment, and there's times where I'm not all in that fight and I hear the crowd, and it only, it just revs me up, like you say. It helps me hearing the crowd cheer for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just curious, how did this fight all come together? Because you're the current XFC Flyweight champion. Could you explain the process of fighting outside of an organization? Because obviously you're signed with XFC. Could you explain the process of getting a fight outside of XFC? Do you have to go to XFC and get the permission to search for another fight? Or does XFO or some other promotion that wants you to fight for them, do they have to go to XFC and talk to them, and then if they say it's okay, then the organization can offer you? Could you explain how you're able to get permission to fight outside the organization?
Yes, absolutely. I had me and my coaches. We want to stay active this year. We want to get as many fights in. XFC is currently working, on the XFC International right now. And I just wanted to stay busy, stay active. I want to get as much cage time and experience in there as I can. And so we went to XFC and asked if I could fight for XFO. And, I'm very fortunate to work with such a great organization that they allowed me to do this.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just curious, you brought up the XFC International Series that they're currently doing right now, and that's basically where most of their attention is right now because they haven't scheduled any U.S. shows on Access TV. They're not on the schedule anytime soon. So I'm just curious, why weren't they possibly putting you on a card down there? I'm sure that there's a tough Brazilian woman somewhere down there that could challenge you for the title. So, why didn't they offer you a fight with the International Series?
Absolutely. I'm sure they have, a lot that they're working on and they're planning on. It just didn't work out, and I had this opportunity for XFO, and so we asked for it, and, they allowed me to do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, you're going to be taking on Kelly Warren. What are your thoughts about her as an opponent?
I think that she's fought, some of the toughest women in the game, and, despite her record, I can't take her lightly at all. She's gone all the way with again, some of the toughest chicks in our sport. So she's a tough girl, I'm going to go in there and treat her like I treat every opponent that I've ever faced. My biggest problem I've ever had at this very moment, and that's exactly what I think of her. Mm-hmm.
Right now, Kelly Warren is on a 4-fight losing streak, but if you look at the names on her resume, it's very misleading, this 4-fight losing streak she's on. She's fought Aisling Daly, Jessica Ai, Tara LaRosa, Courtney Casey, a lot of great fighters on her resume that she's lost to, so it makes that 4-fight losing streak, when you really break it down, it really doesn't make it look that bad when you look at the names that she's fought, but she is on a 4-fight losing streak. Do you expect her to be more dangerous, considering that right now she really doesn't have much to lose? If she suffers another loss, it's just adding to the losing streak. She doesn't have a big winning streak and a lot of momentum going her way. So, are you expecting a more dangerous opponent this time around, considering where she is currently at in her career?
Absolutely. I expect her to be the best, that she's ever been, and that's what I plan on. She has a well-rounded game, and I expect her to be on her A game in every single aspect of MMA.
Mm-hmm. I know you said that you don't feel any pressure because you're fighting at home, and that's something that kind of pumps you up and amps you up for a fight. You don't really feel pressure or get nervous when you're fighting in front of your home crowd. But considering where you two are in your career, she's on a losing streak and you're a champion of a different organization, do you feel any pressure? Because, looking at her record and looking at your record on paper, a lot of people would say, well, this is a fight that you should win. So do you feel any pressure going into this fight at all?
Absolutely not. I'm not looking at it like that. This is an opportunity for me to go in there and work my skills, and that's exactly how I'm looking at this fight. She's a tough opponent, and I'm going to go in there and do what I do best, and that's fight and end this fight as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, Courtney Casey is the common opponent that you and Kelly Warren share, and also it's both your most recent fight. The last time she was in action, she fought against Courtney Casey, and last time you fought against Courtney Casey. Now, in MMA, 1 + 1 usually never equals 2. When you do MMA math, it usually never works that way. That's why these fights aren't fought on paper. That's why they're fought in the cage. So, to the outside eye, someone looking at it on paper would go, well, you beat Courtney Casey and she lost to Courtney Casey, so you should win that fight. So did you watch her fight against Courtney Casey to prepare for this one?
I did. I had to watch and study that fight when I was getting ready for Courtney Casey. But Courtney Casey is a very tough opponent, and she's a really tough fighter. So you can't look. I can't look at Courtney Casey winning that. Oh, this is going to be an easy win. That's not the case at all.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to your last fight back in October against Courtney Casey. That's where you claimed the XFC Flyweight Championship. You defeated her by third-round armbar. I'm sure your opinion on this fight will be a little bit different than mine, but I thought it was a great performance by you. I know you were in some pretty bad spots there. You were close to being finished with some submissions, and you were able to get out. I thought you showed some heart in surviving all those and showed some real skill being able to escape some of those submissions. So were you pleased with your performance in the fight?
I was not pleased at all. That was not Pearl Gonzalez at her best that night. I made a lot of mistakes, but I'm very grateful for it. I learned so much from that fight. My coaches learned so much from that fight. Us as a team learned so much from that fight. It was the first go with my new corner and new camps, so it showed us a lot. It gave us a ground, to build on now. But I was not happy at all with my performance. I have been doing this for a very long time, and my jiu-jitsu defense is one of my best, attributes. But I wish I definitely would have played a better game, especially in my stand-up and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure going into the fight, you were planning on imposing your will and getting off first and predicting the pace of the fight. But outside of that, was this the fight that you were expecting? Were you expecting a battle on the ground?
I knew she was a ground fighter. I am a ground fighter. I knew she was going to come out and be really tough. I knew that off the bat. She's a very talented fighter. I personally came into this fight trying to keep it on my feet and not rush my takedowns, not take her down at all. And that was very different for me. And I think that played a big part in my fight because it was something that I am not used to doing. And so I expected it to go to the ground at some point, absolutely. I didn't expect it to be there as much as it was. I wanted to keep it on my feet as much as possible and work my stand-up.
Mm-hmm. Now, how close were some of these submissions? Because sometimes the cameras and the angles that we get on TV, sometimes the submissions, they look a little bit tighter than they actually are. How much trouble were you in, and how many of these were you, really in some serious danger and pretty close to being finished?
The very first round, she got a really tight armbar on me. She extended my arm. And then I think in the second round, there was a triangle for a second that was put on really tight. Other than that, the others were kind of just, I was going with the flow. And again, like I said, jiu-jitsu defense has always been one of my biggest attributes. So I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was working and working out of. But there was those two, especially the armbar in the first round, where I thought I was in some serious trouble. Mm-hmm.
Just curious, what do you think she was doing wrong that didn't allow her to finish you, and what did you do right to get the stoppage over her?
I think that, she might have underestimated me and underestimated my jiu-jitsu. I definitely think she, underestimated me. And I just, I came out there, and what helped me win that fight was my coaches talking to me and telling me, look, I don't want you. You're not going to win every single battle in this fight. I just need you to win the war, and that's what kept me going, you know. And a lot of people looked at it like I was in a lot of trouble, but the way I look at the fight is I was on top most of the time. I was doing more damage, you know, and controlling the fight more on the ground. She did have me in some tough situations, but I ended up and remained on top most of that fight.
Now, there was some controversy after the fight. She was saying stuff about a spray tan and all this stuff that came out later that, you know, I guess she claims that was helping you somehow. I don't know how it would be, but that was the thing that came out after that fight, that the spray tan, there was this controversy about that. Did anything happen with that? Because, you know, that story kind of died down, you know, a couple weeks after the fight. There was no talk of that again. Was there ever something where the commission came to you, and was there an investigation? Was there anything like that?
Right after the fight, I was walking to my locker room on my way out, and John Prisco and I believe one of the, you know, commissioners came, and where they touched me and asked me if I was wet, and I was like, what do you mean? Am I wet? Am I slipping? I didn't understand. And they were like, she's saying you have grease all over you, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. What do you mean I have grease all over me? And so I guess then, you know, she looked at her shirt. She's like, what is this, her spray tan? And I got a spray tan 3 days before the fight, you know, when I was still in Chicago. I showered, 4 times, plus I did Epsom salt baths. I didn't have any lotion on, so I couldn't see, you know, how that would work. But that was just, you know, I guess that was her excuse for why she lost. And if that's what she needs to tell herself to make her feel better, then whatever.
Now, potentially for a rematch, is there any bad blood with this, or are you just, you know, okay with it? You know, let her say whatever she wants. It's no sweat off your back. You know, is there, you know, something where you would entertain a rematch? You know, should she reestablish herself, get some wins? Is that something that you want? Like, is there some bad blood here now? You know,
absolutely. You know, for her to go out there and say that, I don't want to fight her again. She gave me a hard time the entire fight. That wasn't the only problem. In the first round, she was complaining about me hitting her after the bell. The second round, she said I was poking her in her eye. The whole knee thing, you know, she was just a big pain, and yeah, I have no desire to fight her again. You know, I beat her, and that's it. I didn't cheat. I didn't have to. It was an armbar. She ended the fight. She tapped out, and I'm done with it, you know.
Just curious, how many more fights do you have in your contract with XFC?
I have 3 more fights or 1 year.
Now, the word on the street is that you're planning on making a drop down to strawweight, 115 pounds. Is this still part of the plan?
Absolutely. It's not an immediate thing. I'm not looking to fight next month at 115. I want to do this slowly. I want to do this right, the healthy way, and get down. I'd like to maybe have a fight at 120, you know, and have kind of like a test go and see how that goes, and then take my time down to 15. But that is the ultimate goal, is to get down to 115.
Now, will this be a permanent move down to strawweight, or will you try to, basically what I'm trying to get at is, will you try to hold both belts at the same time in XFC, have the 115 and the 125? Once you go down to 115, is that it? You'll just stay there?
Yes, I do plan on staying down at 115. I have no desire to go after that belt. I am just trying to get down to 115.
I see.
And that was kind of before I won this belt. You know, I am a smaller 125er. I can get down to 115. You know, so that was the ultimate plan anyways.
Now, the reason why I brought up the plans about 115 is because I've seen a bunch of these top 10 lists, top 15 lists, top 20 lists, all these fighters that people would like to see try out for the Ultimate Fighter. Is this something that you'd be open to, trying out for TUF?
No, I actually am not going to try out for it. You know, I feel like I have a lot of skills that need to be worked and learned, and I'm just going to take my time right now. I'm in no rush to go anywhere. I want to continue to get better every single day, continue to add more to my game, you know, get down to 115, and then we'll see where we go.
Definitely. Now, this fight on Friday at XFO 50, it's been a long time coming. You've been trying to get a fight in the Chicago area for a while now. When you play this fight in your head, how do you see the fight ending?
I would would like it to end with a knockout or a TKO. I would prefer not to go for a submission. I just want to show my other skills because I do have another game other than my ground game. But, you know, again, I'm here to finish a fight, and whatever, any way I can finish it, I'm going to.
Mm-hmm. Pearl, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Absolutely. I first and foremost would like to thank all of my sponsors, Junior's Bar in Berwyn, that have just been behind me since my amateur career, KSMD, Kaufman Sports Management Group, and another amazing sponsor to have behind me. I'm so grateful for them. R&L, thank you so much for all the work you're putting in. Underground Unlimited, who just came and dropped out some dope Chicago gear. I'm so excited to rock all my new gear. I've got all this awesome stuff. Thank you so much. Fight Chicks for helping me out. Gorilla Punch, Shy Sky Productions. To all my family and friends that have been behind me from day one, thank you so much. My Dia Denise, who just does unbelievable amounts of work for me every single fight and helps get everything together. Thank you so much, Dia. And to my coaches, Alex Trujillo with Midwest Training Center, just has done wonders to my game. Him and his wife have totally brought me into their home and just have helped me so much. I'm so grateful for that. My head coach, my other head coach, Manolo Hernandez at San Diego Combat Academy, just turning my game up. Just everything that he's putting into me is just amazing. All my teammates over there as well. I'd like to thank, you know, my family, my fans, everybody that stays behind me. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for having me on the show.
Pearl, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck this Friday at XFO 50 against Kelly Warren.
Thank you so much for having me on.